Hello and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and welcome back to a brand new video in Forza Horizon 4 where we are going to be talking about the crazy fan-made Horizon Japan map, and we're also, while we do that, we are going to be building this NSXR. Now, the backdrop to this video, obviously, again, is this build, but the main thing we're going to be talking about is that Japan map that was released, like I said, by a Reddit user. Now, if you notice, there are all sorts of areas throughout the map. I mean, if you've even taken a brief look at it, my eyes went straight to Gunma and Mount Akagi, but there's also the docks, which would be really, really cool. And I know a lot of people, like, you know, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to say, like, oh my god, wait a minute, this game just came out. Why are you talking about this? Or why is this even, like, a thing? And honestly, like, I think it actually shows the amount of people that were behind the Japan idea. And don't get me wrong, I love the idea of the game being in the UK. I think it fits the game really well, and I think it was a good choice of location, and it was gonna happen in the series at one point or another. But now that the UK has happened, then I think it opens the door for Japan to even be a higher possibility. So let's go ahead and focus on the build of this car real quick. We're going to build out the stock engine. Nothing too crazy. I'm kind of probably going to build it as a A-class, well, probably an S1 class, actually, like an S1 class racer, because we're going to be throwing race tires on it and everything like that. So it's going to be a little bit, yeah, you could put drift suspension, but honestly, this is not a car I would put drift suspension on. I mean, you could do it, but it's that's not what this build is going to be for. It's going to be more of a weight reduction and race tires, you know, sticky, grippy, track-focused. Well, not really track-focused because this is Horizon, but race and grip-focused build. So we'll get these wheels spaced out properly. Looks really good. Really, really good. And tire-wise, we want as much grip in the front as we can fit, which is a 255. And in the rear, we're going to fit, well, I say 275. Maybe not, like, as wide as we can go, though. If we went that wide, we'd probably end up with some problems. Now, I want to do a set of wheels that look good. They don't have to be the lightest wheels in the world, but I do want something that doesn't add weight. So that's what I'm going for here. I'm thinking maybe one of these HREs would look nice, although I'm not sure how I feel about the polished lip. I mean, the polished lip looks good on some cars, but I actually am not a fan of it here. I feel like a single color wheel, like these wheels, for example, would look really, really good on it. And I know that I use these wheels on a lot of cars, but there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is the fact that these wheels look damn good. Now, back to the Japan map and back to the Japan map topic and the Japan game topic. Now, we also see other notable landmarks like Mount Fuji is mentioned here, and of course there would obviously have to be a lot of different things taken into account in a official Japan map, but I for one think that there's been a lot of, for this being a fan-made map, I think there's a astounding amount of detail that's been put into it, and I have huge respect for the guy that actually spent the time and took the time to make it. I think it's a tremendous undertaking, and it genuinely blows my mind. It's like, wow, you spent some actual proper time on this stuff, like genuinely proper time. I'm gonna go ahead and actually make the rears max width because I was worried about understeer before, but I think I can dial that out just with some setup changes. So finishing off this this build with a little bit of power, let's see if we can. Okay, we've already got race exhaust. What about valve train? 889 cams will, oh wow, sport cams put us right at S1 900 at 427 horsepower, 328 foot-pounds of torque, weighing in at 2335. That's damn light. That is very, very, very light, and this thing looks evil. It is a mean looking setup. It would be a really good setup to cruise the streets of Japan. Now, I will say that map, one big thing that a lot of people were talking about when I actually posted it on Instagram is the fact that there was a lack of big straightaways. And for me, I think that I would like there to be at least one big straightaway. Like, I'm not super, like, I mean, I love the handling stuff and the cornering stuff, and it's like, that map literally looks like a giant map of Fujimi Kaido, like different sections of Fujimi Kaido, like stuck in different places, which is amazing to me, and that would be a wonderful idea. However, I do think that the drag community is big enough and has a big enough following that they would need to have either their own drag strip or their own highway, preferably their own highway, because when you think about Japan, not only do you think about all the Initial D stuff, but you think about Wangan Midnight and the top speed racing and the big power cars. Japan has such a diverse car culture that you deal with literally everything from toge to drifting to Wangan, like flat out speed. You deal with so many different aspects of it that it's just so vast that you can't even really begin to comprehend it from just, thinking about it and only thinking about like one certain specific part of the of the culture, you know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of different things that they would have to think about there, but at the same time, I think there's definitely something to be said for that map. I think it's a really, really well designed map. Now, I'm not sure how this tune is going to play out. I mean, I haven't really ever driven this car before. This is definitely a blind tune. It should do well. I mean, this car should do well. It's an NSX-R GT. I mean, this is an amazing platform, and I haven't really messed with it too much. I've just added a little bit of power, added a lot of grip, and done a little bit of a setup change. So let's see how it sounds. It sounds so good. Can you imagine this screaming through Mount Akagi? Now that would be something that I would totally be okay with. It will rotate if you tell it to, but it's not super tail happy. However, when it does rotate, it's not super aggressive either. Like, it's a very easy car to catch. Let me try to intentionally upset it. It's easily catchable. Yeah, it's very easily catchable, I think. Right now, it hits the rev limiter directly at 9,000 RPM on the tack. That's very cool. With the sport cams, oh man. That's cool because I rarely ever install the halfway spec cams. You know what I mean? I always, if I'm going to do cams, normally I would just do race cams. You definitely can tell, though, like, even when you kick the clutch, if you're below, like, 5,000 or 6,000 RPM, this thing starts to, like, complain and bog down. It's definitely a top-end only engine. Woo! It's just a fun car, man. It's a really fun car. We've actually got a race up here that we could test it in. Let's give this thing a run. Now, another thing that I would want to talk about, obviously, with that Japan map is the interesting thing to me about it is the fact that there's, like I said, there's so much that's gone into it, right? So much that's gone into it. But I think also, too, it's kind of one of those things that's like, you think about it and you're like, yes, this would be amazing. But I think us as gamers and even as car enthusiasts sometimes, we tend to only think about our little pocket of the car community or our little pocket of the gaming community. And, yes, of course, there are times where we always branch out and, and explore other things. But I think, again, us as gamers and car enthusiasts, we tend to think about our own little pocket of the community, whether that's drag racing or drifting or circuit racing or whatever it may be. I mean, even in just racing alone, you've got the sim racing guys, you've got the drift guys, you've got the drag racers, you've got the painters, you've got the guys that like to customize things, you've got all of these different communities, but at the end of the day, when Playground is making a Forza Horizon game, they literally have to make a game that fits, oh my god, this thing turns in so well, but no, they literally have to make a game that fits all of those things, all of those characteristics, and more. So they have to try to appeal to the drift guy, and the grip guy, and the drag guy, and the casual guy, and the sim racer guy, all at the same time. And wow, I screwed up there majorly. I screwed up this turn beforehand. That was where it went wrong majorly for me. More where I let it go wrong because I shouldn't have cut in that far. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that nobody realizes when they say, oh, we need more of this, or give us more of that, or give us more of this, is they don't think about the fact that you're literally, like, the game is having to cater to so many different audiences. And while I think Japan could cater to all of that stuff, I think that it would actually be a really good place to try to cater to all that stuff. I mean, Japan actually has a massive off-road community too. I mean, everything from Jeeps to Suzuki Jimneys to all of these different Japanese off-road vehicles and non-Japanese off-road vehicles. I mean, there's actually a huge scene in Japan for American cars, just like there's a huge scene here in the US for Japanese cars. They share that same passion for our cars as we share for their cars, but in kind of a different way. So it's weird because it's like seeing an American muscle car in Japan is like seeing an R34 GTR over here. So I think that's one of those cool things where like people say that it wouldn't really, because like some people say that like it wouldn't apply because it would, wow, this thing handles amazingly well. But people say that, like, Japan would be a bad choice because you'd have to take out all these American cars. And honestly, I don't think you'd have to take out any of them. I really don't. I do think that adding in Japanese cars, like more dedicated Japanese cars, like Japan-only cars, like for example, Toyota Chasers, or some of the sportier K cars like the Suzuki Cappuccino, the Honda Beat, cars like that, I feel like would be a really welcome addition to the Forza series, and they would fit in super well with the concept of a Horizon game in Japan. And I liked the idea of, on the map that he made, I liked the idea of switching back to Horizon festivals as opposed to houses. And don't get me wrong, I like the concept of houses. I like them a lot. But at the end of the day, I feel like the concept of Horizon festivals just kind of works a little bit better because you don't really have any attachment, at least I don't have really that much attachment, if any at all, to the houses in this game, because you don't really get to go inside them or anything. You don't really get to do anything with them like you did on a personal level in, say, like Test Drive Unlimited or Test Drive Unlimited 2. So the idea of a Horizon game in Japan could be the TDU3 that we've all been waiting for and all been looking for. And I think also the thing, too, is they would have to make some changes to their engine to do a map that big. But the weird thing to me that I didn't think about, and I never really thought about when thinking about another Horizon game, was how I really messed that up. Wow. Is how some of the people on Instagram, when I posted the picture of the map, were saying, wow, that looks way too big. And it's interesting because there are also people that say the Horizon 3 map is too small. So I think that saying that Japan map is too big, I think may come more from the fact that there's just a lot of freaking roads. You know what I mean? There's a lot of roads on that map, and it would take a while to explore all of them. Don't get me wrong, it would take a long time to explore all those roads. But I think it would be a really fun map to explore because it would literally be somewhere that the Forza series has basically never been before. And it would be such a return to... It would be such a cool return to that Fujimi Kaido dynamic. And I know that a lot of people say that, like, you know, well, why do we need that when we've got, like, Fortune Island or we've got Needle Climb? I mean, don't get me wrong, Needle Climb is amazing, and it's such a great step in the right direction, but it's still no Fujimi Kaido. So if you guys have any thoughts on this map, make sure you leave them down in the comment section below. I know we only did one video today, but don't worry, there will be 2 videos tomorrow, and there will be 2 videos on Monday, as you guys are expecting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to slam that like button. Tell me in the comments below what y'all thought of it, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time. Talk to y'all later.